crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best crypto asset? Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Which one's the best? 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 What's the second best?
This is Discover Crypto. Every day on this channel, we teach you how to make money with digital assets. I'm your host, Easy. Smash that like button, everybody, because we got a major show today. We got to talk about what Donald Trump is doing over at the Fed Reserve. Is he firing people without cause? Is this going to be a constitutional crisis, everybody? And we got some very interesting chart data for Ethereum, Solana, especially Bitcoin, and probably your favorite altcoin and Josh's favorite altcoin, Ondo. We're going to talk about some Ondo stuff. But TJ joining me today. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's a wild time in the markets. They said it couldn't be done. They said the president couldn't fire the sitting member of the Fed board, but you know, we're going to wait and find out, see if it is possible. He's definitely trying. So markets, if it wasn't tariffs that were giving us uncertainty, now it's is the Fed separated from the U.S. policy, and you know, we're nationalizing businesses. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the U.S. So great time to be here, I guess.
Yeah, great time if you don't want the market to choose a direction. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick. You can see major moves over the past few days. This is Sunday, you know, and even crazier the weekend heading into that. You can see just a lot of major movement. So Friday, markets are moving a lot. Saturday, started to see a little bit of a breakdown. Sunday, huge capitulation. Monday morning here, this is the Monday evening, another giant capitulation. And then we've just been trading sideways for hours and hours and hours. This is going back, kind of stuck in the sideways range for 18 hours at this point, TJ. So the longer it trades sideways, the more explosive the move is going to be, whether it's to the upside, whether it's to the downside. No one knows for sure. But when we zoom out and look at the 4-hour candles, we are seeing that RSI potentially ticking over. This is kind of what we were talking about yesterday. RSI kept going lower and lower and lower. Now you can see on the 4-hour chart, starting to get a lot of strength in this RSI. So TJ, you're asking me ahead of time, if I had to choose a direction, where are we heading over the next 72 hours or so? I'm feeling a little bullish. And we'll look at some maybe scary stuff pointing at 98K. Because not everybody is bullish. There's a lot of people freaked out about an under $100,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, I've heard of that 98K level. I mean, obviously, a lot of people, when we first started talking about this dip, we saw this correction coming. We said, you know, the 108 to 110 range. We've satisfied the 110 portion of it now, and the question is, do we go lower to 108? 98. That if we start getting below 100K, the bears will really be out and really be loud.
Well, they're going to come out with their victory laps. They're going to sprain their shoulder from clapping themselves on the back profusely. But we know in the long run, Bitcoin is the answer to the problems that our money is facing. You are the man. I thank you, in Wizzle. Appreciate that. Definitely has been a rough cycle, especially for a lot of people. Heavy alts, I'll go ahead and admit myself is in there. But CRO holders are looking very, very happy today. We're going to talk about the Trump Crypto.com marriage that happened right before we went live. I have all the details on that. Now let's look at the rest of the crypto market. I am interested, what's the rest of the market doing? How are the altcoins doing? Because we just hit refresh. You can see Bitcoin's down 1.5% and ETH is down 3%. And you don't really see anything in the green in the top 10 here. Solana's down 4%. Tron is, you know, kind of holding on flat here. But we really see nothing moving except for the Leo token. But then you go to CRO, and CRO is up 26%. You can see it's just smoking the competition. But we also have a nice little movement from Sky and Aave. TJ, I knew Aave was oversold during that dip. I almost got a little bit more Aave, but I'm leaning towards adding more Link if I'm going to try to buy something during the dip. So that dip, it might go passes. If we go down to 98K on Bitcoin, I will be deploying some dry powder for some of these altcoins. Optimism's down, Vchain's down, TIA and Uniswap and Tau all looking pretty ugly here. But OKB still very, very green for the month there.
Go back to your the 24 hours just real quick.
The gainers or overall?
The gainers right there. So you've got, it's just interesting. CRO Exchange, Sky DeFi, I've got Pendle on my list here because I'm on CoinMarketCap, which is DeFi, Aave, which is DeFi, BitGet, which is an exchange, and Leo, which is an exchange. So it's like of the top 6, they're all trading related things. I mean, DeFi, Sky, you could put as more of a DAO / DeFi, but it really is all market based, trading based projects, revenue generating projects that revolve around trading, whether it's on chain or centralized. So that's just interesting to me. That's been our thesis the whole time, is to invest alongside the picks and the shovels, so to speak, the people that make the market possible. And whether it's an exchange, you're buying coin, or we've been heavy on the base ecosystem because we knew Coinbase was behind it. Now seeing Aave and Curve and Pendle and a lot of these other DeFi platforms do extremely well. It's just interesting to see that it's basically centralized exchanges and on-chain trading based suites of tools.
Speaking of trading, giant red flag. I just want to point out, everybody, if you look at the volume, Leo volume under 1 million.
Yeah.
And if you look at Sky volume under 3 million, whereas Aave is almost 1 billion. So we're seeing, I would, if I'm up in profit on these 2 tokens, I am taking that profit, because when the music stops playing, that's going to be very strong red candles, because there's not going to be a lot of bid orders buying up those sell orders.
Real quick, I want to talk about this. The chat's talking about it. Says Tilt No Guilt says my 3rd cycle, and it's not been like this by any means. I agree. This cycle has been very different. And if you try to go see the key moment of when that began, that really started, the cycle changed when big money got here. And it was in between, it was in the middle of the last bull run. You saw it start to happen in 2021, and they took out a lot of the major players. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. If you think about it, the people that were in the strongest authority seat last cycle, you had Barry Silbert from DCG, you had SBF of FTX, you had even a lot of the big Brian Armstrong, Jesse Powell, CZ, a lot of the big exchange owners were in the driver's seat in a lot of different ways. And then big money came in. They kind of realized, oh, we're not going to be able to stop this. We're not going to be able to control this. We're going to have to own this. And so in order to do that, we saw a cascading series of effects that, arguably or not, was very intentionally created with the Terra Luna collapse, which contributed 3 Arrows Capital, Celsius, FT, brought the whole thing crashing down. But in the meantime, CZ went to jail, SBF went to jail, Do Kwon went to jail, Jesse Powell had to step down, CoinDesk got Digital Currency Group just got gutted through all of their loans and all that sort of stuff. Grayscale got their legs cut out from under them. Barry Silbert lost his position. CoinDesk is now owned by Peter Thiel. So if you look at all this stuff, Peter Thiel, he was definitely involved in crypto, but he is now kind of one of the top dogs with Bullish and all this stuff that they've got going on. So what happened last cycle was a changing of the guard, and the big money got into position. Now this cycle, they're going to use that advantage to continue to mass extract from retail. So retail thinks they've got the 4-year cycle figured out. They can't wait to sell. And that's why it's been, I believe, so hard to predict, because they're going to keep it structurally intact. And I think what we're going to see over these next couple months and into next year, especially if some of this stuff with the Fed continues to play out, which we'll talk about later in the show, could be that dupe in Q4 of this year, get most people sell, and then we see bullish 2026 when most of retail is expecting a bearish 2026. Would not surprise me at all, and that the 4-year cycles are officially over and dead now that big money that thinks well beyond 4 years is here.
Yeah, so instead of a year-long bear market, maybe a mini bear market, then it goes higher and higher. We got someone that is a Santana fan and cousin of Hannah Montana. This is Tantana, Montana. Video about Jackson Hole was on point, pump, then dump. Everybody's talking about that video. If you missed this video, it's still under 7,000 views, but I put a lot of research into this one, basically describing exactly what was going to happen with the Jackson Hole Symposium, and it's playing out beautifully, folks. So go check that video out if you haven't already. But let's talk about the Fed governor here. So far on the Fed chopping block, Trump fires Fed Governor Cook. Fed Governor Kugler then resigns without explanation. Trump then appoints Fed Governor Miran, not the horoscope person. That's a slightly different spelling. Trump then calls fire Fed Chair Powell 10 plus times, and then he says the new Fed Chair pick coming soon. Going to be a very wild year in 2026. We're going to look at the poly market odds on will Jerome Powell finish 2025.
Hmm.
The number is a little bit different than maybe what I was expecting there. But this is a nice little breakdown on what this means. So we'll go into an article. Trump did what no president has ever dared, fired a reserve governor. But the firing doesn't mean removal. It's only step one. Courts now face the question, can the president legally pull this off? I'm not going to get into everything here, but it kind of has a couple salient points. This is the main thing I wanted to cause. There is law, and the law says thus: unless sooner removed for cause by the president, meaning they cannot be removed unless sooner removed for cause. The phrase for cause literally is everything, folks. It means you can't just fire someone because you don't like their decisions. You need serious misconduct. Now, this is their interpretation, not my interpretation. That's the legal wall Trump has to climb. There is some interpretation for this. Other people have been fired for cause from governmental positions. I think this one, though, might go all the way to the highest court. So what does it actually mean for cause? It's been defined so far in precedent by fraud, corruption, or neglect of duty. Not the president has disagreed with you. So there's going to be a lot of people saying, no, it's definitely a neglect of duty. Other people saying no neglect of duty, just the president disagreed. And I think this is what the courts are going to argue. These 2 points right here.
Yeah, I mean, basically what she's being accused of is claiming 2 primary residences.
This right here. Lied.
Okay.
Yeah, I might as well look into it. Yeah, lied on old mortgage applications from 2021, listed 2 homes as a primary residence. It was called gross negligence or potentially criminal. Here's the kicker. She hasn't been charged. Now, this is very, very similar to the same charge that Donald Trump had levied against him from New York AG Letitia James. Now, Letitia James thought the president was able to be charged with this. I don't see why Lisa Cook couldn't be charged. And I would say probably both of those would be a little politically motivated. I think that's fair to say there. So that's the charge. Nick Carter, have you seen Nick Carter's joke on this?
Probably. I know I saw some comment he wrote.
You know the expression, if you come at the king for mortgage fraud, you better not also have committed mortgage fraud.
Yeah. I didn't see that one. That's pretty good. Yeah.
Let's see. What does the article say here? So now people are saying this is calling into question the stability of the U.S. dollar. So president announced the dismissal of Lisa Cook, raising questions about the reliability. Now, he accused her of making false statements on one or more mortgage agreements and addressing her directly. I have determined that faithfully executing the law requires your immediate removal from office. Now, according to the AP, Cook says she would not step down. She said Trump attempting to remove her post for cause, but claimed no cause exists under the law, and added that Trump has no authority to remove her. She concluded, I'm not stepping down. I will not resign. Now, we have some takes here. This is Alex Obchakovic told Cointelegraph that the Fed's independence is the foundation for stability of the U.S. economy, ensures objective. There might be arguments of whether or not it is monetary policy, rates, inflation without politics, maintaining investor confidence, and preventing crises. Without it, there's a risk of manipulation, economic instability, as in those authoritarian countries. Now, this person suggested Trump fire Cook, or Trump decided to fire for political reasons, and this undermines the Fed independence. But other people, they're quick to reject this idea of firing this person. Anthony Pomp said Trump should not follow through on his threat. And Elizabeth Warren also warned if he fires Powell, it's going to undermine investor confidence in the integrity of the U.S. capital markets and trigger a financial crisis or financial crash. I would say what questions my integrity of U.S. capital markets is senators that make $200K having multi-million-dollar residences. But that's just me, TJ. That's just me. What do you think is going to happen here?
That's my take when I hear people talking about some of this stuff, is like trying to say, oh, well, did they commit a crime? It's like, yeah, they're all criminals, guys. They're all some of the best criminals in the
tax
country.
Fraud. At the end of the day, that is tax fraud.
If you want to be the best at breaking the law, you should start writing the laws. Like that's how that works. That's why they
marry someone that does.
Yeah,
Paul Pelosi.
Yeah, there you go. So let's not get like righteous about who's the good politician. They're all bad. Let's just start with that.
No orange man bad, he said. Get him.
Yeah, what gets really interesting is does this undermine the faith in the dollar and the system? To your point, I would argue nobody really believes that they're separate, or at least that their interests aren't somewhat intertwined. I think that might be the best way, the easiest, the most accurate way to say it. They sometimes have locking interest, but sometimes, like right now, they don't, which is, I think, why we're seeing such chaos. I do think this is going to cause a lot of chaos in the markets until it gets resolved, kind of like the tariffs. Were the tariffs good, bad, indifferent? You know, it was such a moving target. I don't know if anybody could tell you with complete confidence right now. But what it did do was create an unknown variable, which markets hate an unknown variable and will always risk off in the short term to be ready for what might come in the long term. So
This makes me think of Ray Dalio when he said in 1971, when he went to work on Wall Street as a stockbroker, the very following day after Nixon's address saying we're getting off the gold standard, he was like, man, I'm going to go into the stock exchange. It's just going to be red everywhere and everyone's panicking. Everything was pumping. I will predict a very short-term dip because people are going to see Powell's fired, looser monetary policy, pump the markets, long this altcoin, long Bitcoin, and they're all going to have to get punished. And for them to get punished, we're going to need a washout, a nice little leverage dip, and then maybe up and to the right.
Well, and you said Powell. I know they're talking about Cook here, but there is some extra, kind of caveats. So I think a lot of this is political positioning. I don't know if it's as much to remove this specific person or the threat of the lawsuit. They say they're not leaving now, but it creates a domino effect of all sorts of other stuff I was reading about. I don't have it all right here, but this is one of them that was interesting. Cook refusing to leave puts the Fed in a really difficult position. If they allow her to continue with her duties as Fed governor starting this morning, and the courts do find that the president has authority to remove her, even if it's later, even if it's after an appeal, it could cause a big issue. The Fed could be held responsible for allowing a non-employee to continue and act like an employee. So basically, if the Fed allows her to stay as governor and the court rules Trump can't fire her, then Jay Powell has potentially committed a for-cause offense. So if Jerome Powell lets her stay in action and she says, and then later,
the courts rule that the firing was justified.
Rule that she should have been out, and Powell didn't make her leave. Now maybe Powell is out. So that was a really interesting twist that and there's a lot of other interesting domino order of effect stuff that comes to do. Go ahead.
It's the first domino.
What's that?
Her tax accountant in 2021 said, hey, I know a little trick that'll save you like $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that leads to this.
Definitely not. Well, what's interesting that I was reading about is apparently the law that he used to implement this has been around for a long time, and it's been used to prosecute like dirty cops in New York and stuff for doing things that are, basically illegal things to enrich themselves, but it's never been applied to a prosecutor or an attorney. And what's really interesting is this is having second, third order effects on all types of these cases where prosecutors are going after people that they're all getting put on hold, because if this person can be investigated for their actions, what's going to stop somebody from investigating me? And it's really interesting the kind of other legal effects that this is having. So obviously the main one's going to be the dollar. Ultimately, what do I think happens? I think ultimately a lot of this stuff shakes out. It's a bunch of political stuff. Inevitably, they end up cutting. They're going to print a ton of money, and all the markets will go up and print again in the I would call it short, medium term, like not 6 months, but over the next 6 years or the rest, next couple of years, we're going to see very bullish markets, maybe 26, 27. And they're going to continue to print. They don't really have a choice. So,
all right. Now, looking at the odds, real quick, I almost want to throw Steve-O under the bus. He tagged 3 crypto channels. I didn't see DC Steve-O. I didn't see it. But looking at the odds, Jerome Powell out as the Fed chair, he's actually had a favorable rating over the last month. You can see a spike close to 20%. 1 out of 5 odds he's going to be fired. But now just more and more likely he's not going to get fired. And you can see the little spike there. With the Cook firing, they're like, oh, well, fired her maybe. But still, markets are saying, Powell's going to be there. Powell's 100% going to be there.
He can't get fired for exactly everything we just explained. There has to be a clear for cause, and Powell hasn't done it. This is the next best thing they can do. But it is really interesting political gamesmanship that we're seeing here for sure.
All right, people are saying we're getting a nice juicy green candle here. Let's go. This you liar. You liar. We're still in the range. We're still in the range. It's still chopping along sideways there. We did get a little trade in. I kind of just yellowed one right before we went, or when I was doing my research, and then I had an entry at 109.5, 109, and 1085. So
Nice.
just some small entries. So it was a very small position, but right now, we're in profit, so we're not going to shake a stick of that thing. Let's get back into Bitcoin here. So let's talk about the price impact. What does this mean for Bitcoin's price? Does that mean 124 is the top? Is the bull run over? Well, this is why I don't think the bull run's going to be over. Now, the 124, unlikely to be the cycle top. Why? All 30 peak indicators are still neutral. These peak indicators, nothing is flashing. Also, some of the losses, it's new investors capitulating as the season holders are unfazed. This is the paper hands acting like paper hands. And we're still holding above the 20-week EMA, keeping the path open towards 150. Now, this is from Merlin, the trader, stressed that none of the 30 widely followed metrics have indicated red so far. Historically, these tools coincided with multiple overheating signals, or coincides with the top across a lot of these on-chain tools. For instance, one of the tools, Pure Multiple, it spikes when miners earn unsustainably high revenues. Right now, it's only 139, well below the 2.2 danger zone seen before previous peaks. So this looks good. Also have MVRV score. This looks at Bitcoin's price to its actual capital inflows. I would say that's a bad way of describing it. It looks at Bitcoin's price compared to the price it last changed hands. So if you got a lot of Bitcoin at 10K and then you haven't moved it since, on chain, it lists as a $10,000 Bitcoin. This is how you get the market value to realized value score. It remains in neutral territory rather than the overheated extremes that mark previous tops. Here you can see a top, boom, nice spike there. That was the top. Nice spike here. Ended up actually not being the top, but the other top was another additional spike. And here you can see, maybe still a lot of room to go. Don't know if we go into this pink zone, but I definitely think we're going to go a little bit higher than that. Now, the season holders are definitely unfazed here, but can we drop lower? Now we're going to start getting into some of these scary price predictions. The pullback is looking less like a market top, more just like a classic bull market correction. It previously has posted repeated sharp drawdowns in the 20 to 30% range before resuming an uptrend. And the latest 12% decline, comparatively shallow and still above the 20-week EMA, near 108. We're going to talk about this in a second. This level is acted as dynamic support through the rally. Now, conversely, a breakdown below the 20 EMA gets us to the 50-week EMA. That's near 95. The support has historically marked local bottoms. So let's get into some of these numbers here. This is the MVRV thing. You see nothing's in the red here. This is Caleb Franzen's fractal. We'll look at those as well. But let's talk about that 98K. So number one, we got those moving averages. Let me find it right here. I'm sorry, I'm a little blind. Now, this is only on weekly. And you can see the 50-week takes you down to 95. That was 95. Everything else is going to be 98. This is the 20-week we're bouncing off of. If you notice, when we lose the 20-week, we can lose it pretty quickly. This is a strong wick down below. The next candle was a bloodbath, but we bounced off the 50. If you look here, wicked below the 20. Yet again, strong deep red candle. And then what we end up doing, we come against the 50 here. And we'll just go, this is a little bit tight, so we won't look at that one. But this is an area I would be paying attention to. But now let's get into the 98K. So we got multiple confluence here. 50-week moving average. He's using SMA. We're using the EMA, so slightly different, but still, that was 95, 98. Reason number two, trend line of 2021. The trend line of 2021, let me remove these moving averages, it's going to be this trend line right here. You catch the tops on the candle bodies, boom, 98K, TJ. That's nuts, right? Also, previous channel bottom, red rectangle, that's going to be this channel bottom. What did we do? We wicked right into this, 98K. Last and not least, previous channel lower trend. That's going to be this lower trend right here, catching the bottoms. Oh, sorry, no, catching the bottoms here. And where does it coincide, TJ?
98K.
98K.
Wow.
If we dip to 98K, it does not mean the bull market's over. That's really what I'm saying here. This is a strong level of support. Maybe we wick a little bit lower because everybody gets a little too greedy. We could go to 95, and I'm not going to say the bull market's over.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think 90 under 100K does not ruin the bull run for me. You got to get closer into the 80s. Even, I mean, we hit 84 and it wasn't over. So I
And
mean,
that
it's
50-week moving average, I mean, we're wicking below it several times
Mhm.
in this uptrend.
You may already have this, and if you do, I'm sorry for throwing it, but from Caleb, he posted this, which is kind of like a longer time frame version of what you were looking at. To the smartest TradFi friend I know, they know a good chart when I see it. If we crack below this, we can reassess. And this is him basically looking, this is overall very healthy structure here. Even if we drop below this level down to that level you were talking about, it's not the end of the world. It would have to close below it for a substantial period of time before we really start to get concerned. Um, so yeah, I agree 100% with what you just put up there. I think 98K doesn't scare me one bit. In fact, it would actually, I'm kind of expecting something like that. It feels like we need to go back down towards those levels. I would actually welcome that if it happens in the next month or so. It would be very nice for me. But either way, I do think we're going to, once we get to September, like this now, the rate cuts and what the Fed does or doesn't do, that these Fed meetings have never been more interesting, at least to me, than they are right now. So if we get, I still expect we see a cut in September. They kind of signaled that at Jackson Hole. If we get some resolution on what's going on with some of this other stuff, that would be great. But end of this year, some rate cuts, some relief bounces. I think most of retail will exit, and then we'll have to assess what we're doing for 2026. So.
All right. And I didn't even think about it. Yeah, we also got that CME gap to the upside. So that's,
We
another
do.
reason that things could be bouncing fairly quickly here. This is a great post here. Now, I'm about to post the same thing for Cardano. I think I have a schedule coming out in 3 minutes, but you don't deserve to win. You don't deserve to win if this is where you're selling. And this is just a nice point that we made before. All of the fun happens in the final 30, 60 days. I don't think we're at the phase of the final 30, 60 days. I think we're really, really close potentially to the final 60 days. I don't think we're quite there yet, but you can see this is not maybe the best time to sell if you just look at the previous cycles. Now, I know these are log charts and it's going to be diminishing returns. At the end of the day, I mean, is this where you want to sell? That's not where I want to sell personally.
Nope. No, and realistically, like this is why I say I don't think I ever want to sell my Bitcoin, because I do think we're going to go into an extended bull market. Altcoins, definitely. I'm waiting for that moment on several altcoins, and then consolidating back to Bitcoin for sure.
We mentioned CRO, but we'll do a little further breakdown towards the end when we start talking about the alt. So if you got a CRO bag, and you're wondering what the heck's going on, why is it pumping so bad, stay tuned. Go ahead and smash that like button. If you're not following this channel, highly recommend you go follow this channel. We've been putting out banger after banger. Tonight, Solana video. I'm going to tell you why I think a lot of this ETH is going to rotate into Solana. I'm not just pulling this opinion out of thin air. We're going to be looking at the data. We're going to pour over some charts. I'm going to try to present to you a lot of good alpha. But I got the alpha right here from the UAE. All right. New city recommendation. Deezy's Hole, Wyoming. No, it's Jackson Holes. It's Jackson's. Oh, wait a minute. That one sounds worse.
Wow. Yeah. We're going down. Well, but it does track. It does track with the audience. So.
It tracks with the Fed.
Yeah,
all right, let's talk about the UAE here. They have now over $700 million in Bitcoin. This is just pointed out by Arkham here. So the United Arab Emirates has emerged as one of the largest state-linked Bitcoin holders in the world, with Arkham labeling $719 million in Bitcoin tied to the UAE's mining operations. This isn't like a crown prince's personal stash. This is what they've been mining. Now, UAE, very wealthy country per capita. They make primarily most of their money, obviously, from oil, and they are an OPEC nation member, and they usually rank around 2 or 3 when it comes to oil output. Now, unlike the US and the UK, whose sizable Bitcoin reserves stem from law enforcement seizures, stealing, maybe credibly, maybe not credibly, from the citizens, UAE's Bitcoin stash originates from large-scale mining. It's called Citadel Mining, and they've mined 9,300 Bitcoin since 22, with about 6,300 in reserve. Now, they've upped their recent balance from January 1st to August 26th. They've had a net accumulation of 409 Bitcoin. And the dollar amount, now, obviously, there's a price increase, but they went from 550 million on the balance sheet to 720 million on the balance sheet, getting more and more Bitcoin. So this is kind of the difference there in measuring Bitcoin. I think this is Bitcoin, or is this hundreds of millions? So this is fiat on the bottom, 30 fiat. Now, like I said, it's held through Citadel Mining, publicly listed Bitcoin miner, majority owned by the International Holding Company. Now, the international holding company could almost be its own video, but I like life and I don't want to unalive anything related to myself here. So I got to be careful with what I say. This is controlled by Sheikh Tahnoon bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He's a senior member of Abu Dhabi's royal family. Abu Dhabi's royal family is primarily consists of, we're not going to mention the sisters, but it's 6 brothers. 6 brothers. The number one brother, he is the president, or is the crown. They have a very complicated title there. Number two is this guy right here. He was almost floated as being the majority ruler there, ended up being his brother. This guy is worth a lot of money, and he's in charge of even more money. Now, UAE is now the 4th largest Bitcoin holder. It's going to be after US, UK, and Bhutan, just ahead of El Salvador. Let's look into this guy right here. This guy has a net worth of $10 billion. TJ, do you know no one has seen his eyeballs?
I didn't know that. No.
He wears sunglasses inside, and they say it's from a rare condition that where light hurts his eyeball. Now, he's very heavily involved in the UFC. He's responsible for bringing jiu-jitsu as part of like a strong national identity of the UAE. Even in the gyms, you see him wearing his sunglasses. You will not find one photo of this man without sunglasses. Now, this $10 billion is going to be, what his personal wealth is.
So you're saying he's marked safe from the orb? Sam Altman's orb?
From all things.
Interesting.
I would say best case scenario, he's hiding a lazy eye or maybe just worried about surveillance. I mean, I don't even know what worst case scenario would be. It'd be some weird thing of like
objective reality says he's just a mega stoner. Just doesn't want people to see it.
He's smoking that hashish.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all the hashish, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, he controls 4x Elon Musk's wealth. And he's going all in on AI, but he's also going in on very risky bets. He's also called the spy sheik. Why? Because he controls their intelligence agencies. Now they control $1.5 trillion in wealth, and he's putting a lot of it into AI and forward-looking investments there.
I bet he's friends with Peter Thiel. Just a guess.
Yeah. Well, they might be on opposite ends of what they are trying to.
You're right. Maybe I should have said friends. I bet they know each other.
They know each other. They know each other well. Maybe that's why he's wearing sunglasses all the time. Now, he's the son of the founder of the UAE, brother to the crown prince, and at one time top contender for the crown himself. MGX, if you remember that massive AI investment vehicle, he's part of the MGX thing, and IHC is as well. And he's, like I said, he's a black belt now, has more money, manages more money than the market cap of Amazon. Oh,
Jeez.
His house, just a casual $490 million palace. He has a Boeing 787, 737, go kick rocks, private jet. Oh, and his yacht, just a casual $250 million. So when they say he's worth $10 billion, I think it's a lot higher than that. Yeah, was he in the sauna wearing sunglasses? You will not find pictures of this guy without sunglasses there. So this is the guy that is responsible for UAE's investment strategy. And his investment strategy is high growth, risky sectors, and they're mining Bitcoin. They have over $500 million in mined Bitcoin. TJ, do you think they're also maybe accumulating in other ways?
Yes, absolutely.
100%, right?
100%.
And not only that, if you have all this wealth, don't you think they all have personal bags? Like, hey, we're going to put out this press release, in a week or two, talking about how we're building a giant mining supercluster infrastructure grid for Bitcoin mining. Don't you think they front run it by spot buying a whole
100%
load?
Absolutely.
100%.
They're definitely doing it. I know they are.
Now this, that's again, just my assessment here. I love my life. That's all I'm going to say. So don't come after me, UAE. All right. Absolutely unprecedented, folks. Let's talk about ETH now. Tom Lee has over almost $10 billion in ETH just over the last 50 days, 1.7 million. That is 1.4% of the entire supply. If he gets to his 5% target and ETH goes above 12K, they're going to be larger than MicroStrategy, which is freaking nuts. And this is a log scale. This is the most misleading graph I've ever seen. This is 5,700. This is 8,000. This is 70,000. A little off there. It's a little off. Even if it was a log chart, this should be 82 or 88K should be double this on a log chart. So this is a funky looking chart there. But Mark Newton at it again. He's the managing director and head of strategy for Fundstrat. Fundstrat is Tom Lee's ETH buying vehicle here. His quant, His trading quant is at it again. Called the ETH bottom to happen. Now, I looked. This was 9 p.m. Are you ready to see if this guy's right?
Yeah.
That's the let's go meme, I think. Let's go. All right. Look at that. It's actually that candle right there.
Yeah. They set the bottom. It's not the first time it's the second time they've done this recently. So yeah, when they call the bottom and bid the bottom and they have billions of dollars, that definitely helps. And I put this in our trade. By the way, if you're in the Discord, I put this in the trading chat last night and just said, hey, for what it's worth, the billionaire that's got billions of dollars to buy ETH just said he thinks this is the local bottom on ETH. So, take that for what it's worth. And I think some people followed that trade and did very, very well on it. So happy to see that. But the link is in the description if you guys want to jump in there. It's free. All you have to do is sign up for our affiliates and come hang out and trade with us. But yeah, it's interesting seeing them calling all of this stuff with Ethereum. I also read a very interesting thread as to why they might be doing that, why they might be disclosing their cash positions. They're trying to set the bottom in some regards. They don't want it to go much lower than that. So, because they don't always disclose their cash positions when they do their updates, or I don't know if it's weekly or quarterly that they're doing their stuff, maybe monthly. But this is going to be a very interesting one to watch. If Ethereum is the Wall Street, if MicroStrategy is the store of value with Bitcoin and Ethereum is what they're building Wall Street on, we know BlackRock has an ETH ETF. We know Tom Lee and some of these other ones are pushing it very hard. If that seems to be the chosen one, there could be insatiable appetite for this to continue to go higher and higher. Tom Lee's the one who's calling for that $12,000 Ethereum. That's even more bullish than me, which, hey, I'll take it. But I'm more in the 8 to 10K range. But $12,000 in ETH is definitely achievable, and dare I say likely if they continue on the path that they're on to bring the entire stock market on chain and everything they're doing with RWAs. It's all and stable coins is all happening on ETH. It's nice to have him out there pushing that on mainstream and pushing those ETFs. I think we'll continue to see a rise.
All right. People having fun me reading some of the chats. Yes, some of them make me harumph a little, a chortle, if you will. We don't go beyond chortle, though, but some of them are pretty good, folks. Someone's saying maybe there is maybe one photo of him in the middle of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training session there. So, but it's not even sure if it's him. So now I'm like, God, how mysterious is this guy? Is he Satoshi at this point? All right, let's talk about what altcoins, though. Now I want to tell you, let's set up a strategy. Let's set up a strategy for success. And that strategy for success is a very clear template that's been laid out before you for years and years and years. Bitcoin's going to pump. Then you're going to see Ethereum pump. You're going to see other large cap pumps. Then you're going to see the mid-size caps pump. But after ETH, I think we're going to see that Solana rotation. Tonight's video is all going to be about that Solana rotation. But what happens after Solana? I got a playbook for you. I got the roadmap for you. The roadmap for success. Canary now filing for American-made crypto ETF. It's been a while since we've seen the American-made narrative. Now I think the American-made narrative is time for it to come back. It's going to be index-based ETF comprised of digital assets either originally created in the U.S. or where the majority is minted in the U.S. And the majority of the protocol's operations are U.S. Now, if you want to learn how to trade this, well, what are these American coins? I don't have time to know. Solana's named after Solana Beach, and Anatoly is a Ukrainian refugee who then moved to California. Maybe you don't have all this stuff on the top of your mind. You can actually go to CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. You type in America. That's with the voice control, or you can just type it in USA. Under categories, you see made in USA, and you see it plummeting 4.47%. Maybe there's a little opportunity here, though. So you click on that, assuming it works, and then it's going to give you your list of American coins. And I think these top four are just great choices. XLM and Sweep, Avalanche, I would say, also a great choice. I think XRP and Cardano are going to pump off the idiot trade. I think Solana is going to pump as money rotates and sees the finality time and how fast Solana is relative to ETH and how cheap. And I think Chainlink is kind of the guardrails of everything. And so I think all four of those coins are going to be just good winners moving forward. But this is just a good metric to maybe measure, all right, where's the attention and what's going to have some potential capital inflows in the future. I'm going to talk about Ondo later. I know Ondo people are in the chat. Ondo news is coming.
I think, and so is the CRO. I see the CRO people in there too. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Actually, maybe might as well roll into it. Speaking of Canary Capital, this just since you're mentioning ETFs, we've also got this. Trump. They also file a Trump coin ETF, which is just funny to me, an ETF for a meme coin, but it's out there now. So now we got
Why is it
Trump.
not Melania?
Yeah. No, nobody
That's
wants.
what I want to
Nobody
know.
wants to trade Melania. Only wants to trade Trump. But I do think that's a pretty easy strategy that you just laid out there. Like I've said this several times, don't overthink it, especially this cycle. I think a lot of times the longer people are in crypto, the more, or even not, you don't even have to be in it long. People want to way overcomplicate this stuff. When early on, if you had just bought Bitcoin and held it, probably would have done pretty well. If you just bought Ethereum and held it, and now I think it's some of these obvious majors: Ethereum, Solana, Chainlink, XRP, Cardano. A lot of these top 10 projects you just covered, they're gonna see huge inflows as these ETFs and index funds get set up. As we continue to move towards this mainstream adoption, you don't have to go down to coin 787, whatever coin that is. You don't have to go to a sub 10 million market cap. You don't need to be in the trenches. If you're in the trenches on Pump Fund, I hope you're having fun. And if you're not, then you're missing the point. The point of that is to have fun. If you're in there trying to make money, it's gonna be very hard. If you've got very small amount of capital and you're putting it into some of these majors and you're holding it for a significant amount of time, you'll probably perform extremely well, and it's not that hard. So if you've got some money to put in right now, doing the strategy DZ just laid out there of looking at these majors, waiting for these ETFs to open up, waiting for pension funds to flow in, the crypto, the top 10 crypto index ET type stuff is coming in definitely. And I think it's going to happen in 2026, which is another reason I'm holding off my, we're going to see a heavy bear market in 2026 prediction. But if you just keep it simple, stupid, that strategy works in crypto. So
I got the bull market thesis for Melania.
All right, what do you got?
We were just talking about this ahead of time. Melania is from Slovenia,
Mm-hmm.
former Yugoslavia. Slovenia should just make Melania national reserve currency or create a digital asset treasury. They have 72 billion GDP and 2 million people. Give everyone one Melania token. That's what I say. We'll turn that economy right around, folks. All right, let's move forward here. So other Bitwise, or that was Canary. This is Bitwise. We also got a spot Chainlink ETF. So we're seeing a lot more Link Marines. I hope you're happy about this. Who's going to be the first to type in the link emoji, the Chainlink emoji? I don't know if Dreamula is here. It's typically Dreamula. Now, Solana in the video, I just sent it to the editor not that long ago. So we have another Solana treasury. I talk about the $400 million one. I talk about the $1 billion one. Well, we just made a $1.25 billion one. So I'm going to make a short on this before the Solana video. So watch the short if you want the most updated news, then watch the video if you want the really critical assessment where I break down and really dive into the charts there. And it looks like number one, oh my God, was he finally dethroned? Huck. Oh, yeah, the guy who faked his death. Huck did it, then Tilt. Dreamula coming in at number 3. Oh, my. Times have changed here. Let's talk about Ondo. Ondo holders. Do you hold some Ondo? I want to hear see a Y or an N. Yes, if you hold Ondo. N if you do not. TJ, do you hold Ondo?
I do hold some Ondo.
I hold a little Ondo myself. Well, Upbit is now back to accumulating a ton of Ondo. Last time Upbit was accumulating this much Ondo, the price skyrocketed to new all-time highs. This was the December 2024. We're going to go into the charts a little bit later. Upbit now holds about 5% of all Ondo, more than double the start of 2025. So like I said, they accumulated November, December. Then they kind of chilled. And then, everything kind of cooled down in the altcoin markets there. But now they're accumulating again. So let's look at the November, December Ondo price action 2024. Well, you can see currently, we just kind of got rejected off this semi-important range. November, December, holy smokies. This is November 5th. That was that local bottom. And then that's December 5th. And we end up peaking December 16th. That was a pretty massive gain, everybody. Ondo would climb 3.5x. So if you had $1, you're going to get 3.5 or 350. Now they're accumulating again. Last Ondo video, I talk about these targets. I talk about these levels. I mean, you can kind of just see why they're going to be important. And it looks like maybe, I thought maybe it was there, but I would say after we clear $1.08, you're looking right there about $1.50. Oh yeah, I moved it up to $1.50 for the psychological level. But yeah, there's a very, very strong resistance right there at 148.4, 148.5. That would be the Ondo levels. Now, if we dip, I don't know if we're going to dip in the face of accumulation by Mr. Ondo, but I would be looking at, some sort of trend line, maybe like that. This is definitely scoop up some Ondo levels for me. And I will let you know if I scoop up some Ondos at those levels. We will buy.
Yeah, we got a super chat here. This is an interesting question, kind of a tough one. Do you think I can 10x my VeChain bags? And I've got it right here if you want to look at the chart.
I hate to reference that UAE Prince again.
Mhm.
He's really good friends with Dana White. Dana White only owns one crypto. That one crypto is VeChain.
Yeah.
I think Dana White acting as a VeChain thought leader, which I wouldn't, accumulator, maybe a better term for it. He's going to act like a Dave Portnoy for GME stock, for GameStop. He's going to get a lot of retail in. And so I do expect a very pumpamental VeChain bull market when it finally kicks off. I think it'll look similar to what it looked like in 2021. It's going to be up vertical out of nowhere. Everybody's going to be talking about it. UFC is going to have it plastered everywhere. And then altcoin reckoning will come. But in that time, there's going to be a lot of money to be made. Yeah,
it was 15 cents in November of 21. So, I mean, it's possible. It's definitely, I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket, but 5 to 10x, extremely possible. Extremely possible. That was a good breakdown.
Yeah, and it actually was a quick spike above a quarter.
Yeah, in the early 21. Yeah. I was looking at
early 21. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's doable. There's definitely got upward momentum. Like you said, when it goes, it's going to be fast and violent. And a lot of these
not diluted all to hell either.
Yeah, no, it has the recipe it needs to have a really, really good run. A lot of these, I would put VeChain in this category of a lot of these ones that have very strong brand, very well known.
I mean, that typically don't see all that.
No, they can come back very quickly. So
all it takes is, probably a small enough, I would say, volume where Dana White could really, really make a god candle, just like with a couple pushes of some buttons on his phone. Boom. Next thing you know, alt season's here. But this is definite reason why I say alt season is here. This is one of the reasons why, if you're up really, really heavy on new ETH that you accumulated, it might be a good time to rotate into some other alts. Alts haven't been this oversold in 8 years. Do what you can with this information, but let's dive in a little bit. What he's looking at is the others chart. Others chart, you can go to TradingView and you'll see it here, TradingView. You go to others, it's going to be the others. These are the people that live on the island and the lost. No, it's total crypto market cap excluding top 10. So it's everything else except for the really, really strong coins. And this is others divided by ETH. So this is how they are relative to ETH. So this is ETH pumping, ETH just crushing it. But is it truly the most oversold in history? Well, for that, we got to determine ourselves. What do? We don't trust, we verify. And I notice he's on the weekly chart here, 1 week. So we go to the weekly. Others into ETH. Look at that, TJ. Never
whoa,
have we been that oversold here. Let's find the horizontal line. Did I hit it? Yep. So we did it there, but we also did it right there as well. This was semi-oversold. This right there, great time to load up on alts. Maybe followed, right there. Also, right here, great time to load up on alts. Really is a great time to sell your ETH for XRP, Solana, or Cardano, or even Chainlink. We're probably all going to be gaining against ETH. And
can you zoom out on that anymore? Is that the full chart? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's 2016 here.
Yeah, it was like the beginning of altcoins. Interesting. So there's two. Yeah.
Never, ever have we been this oversold.
That's actually really good. We should do a video just on that, I think, because that's a pretty strong signal.
And on the 5-day, looks like same situation here. We've never been that oversold on the 5-day either.
Yeah, and it's in line with just macro gut what we've been saying and looking at for alt season to be in the next 2 of the last 3 months of this year.
I would just worry a little bit about the potential of a bull div where we go a little bit lower as the RSI is showing more strength, resulting in a sharp correction or reversal.
Yeah, there's always risk, and that's why there's always going to be risk of pain when it's the best time to buy. So yes, if this is really the best time, there is a risk that you put in. Like if you're moving a significant amount in, that it drops another 30%. 3 days after you do it, the next day. So. But that's the risk you take in crypto if you
high risk, high reward.
Yeah. So like if right now I'm looking at this and like, dang, I should probably slide another Bitcoin or two over into Solana and some of those other majors we just mentioned. maybe more Arrow. I can't stop buying Arrow because it seems to just recover really
I
well.
can't stop buying Arrow DVDs from the flea market either. So we're basically the same.
Basically the same.
We're basically the
But
same.
yeah, based on that, I'm probably moving some more into altcoins this week. So.
All right, dude. We got Big Pay in the chat. Yeah, Big Pay definitely genius when it comes to Big Pay with the 5 crypto memberships. We appreciate it. He's a genius when it comes to Pokemon evolutions. No, it's Cardano. He definitely knows his Cardano very, very well.
Yeah, I think he just had Cardano Foundation on for an interview.
He had Greg Gregard, I think is how you say it. He's the CF president, if I'm not mistaken. There's going to be the Cardano Foundation. There's like 3 entities kind of working with Cardano. You have IOG, you have CF, and you have Emergo.
Yeah,
and so he's one of the heads of the Hydra.
Kind of working with them is the key word.
Kind of working with them. Kind of working adjacently to them.
They're doing something.
They're
all
sharing
doing
a strip mall.
Yeah.
But so did a massage parlor. Never mind. Anyway, let's move on here. Robinhood and Strategy, the shares are dipping. Why, TJ? They didn't get added into the S&P 500.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. Well, that just means maybe a little bit more upside in the future because probably will get added eventually there. CRO. Now let's talk about CRO. What the heck happened with CRO? Trump Media and Crypto.com building a CRO treasury. CRO ended up jumping 25%. And so they're integrating their wallet infrastructure and adopting it as a utility token for Truth Social. It's going to be for rewards and subscriptions. Now they're going to exchange investments. Now I haven't poured over, they're kind of unclear in the press release. It looks like they got one of those patented old 50% discounts. Trump is going to buy $100 million worth of CRO, but CRO is getting $50 million in shares. I think, and again, I don't know, it's kind of dubious speculation here. I think CRO gave him the tokens 50 cents on the dollar, and then Trump gave the DJT shares, price on par, and then we ended up with the $105 million to the $50 million swap there. Now, new vehicle, Trump Media Group CRO Strategy Incorporated plans to merge SPAC and trade as MCGA, aiming to make the world's largest CRO holder. Well, I thought that was going to be make crypto great again, right? Wrong. Make CRO great again. It's going to make CRO great again is going to be the entity ticker, according to Crypto.com CEO. And they're going to be the largest holder with the 6.3 billion tokens, valued at roughly $1 billion at the time of announcement there. And then if you look at CRO, CRO with the massive pump out of nowhere. Let's hit refresh. Still pumping. Yeah, still a nice little pump there. Let's go to the price. Okay, so a little rejection there at 21 cents. Little rejection there at 20 cents. So careful trading this one. This one's moving fast. It's moving violently. I wouldn't try to trade that one.
Yeah, they do seem to have alignment with the Trumps though, and at least for now, that seems to be a golden ticket in crypto. This interesting super chat here from Crypto Crank.
Yeah, we look at it the AVAX ETH chart all the time.
Yeah, well, he's just saying pull up link to AVAX, ETH to AVAX, sold to AVAX, and apparently they're all looking strong to AVAX. Is his point he was saying earlier, which. Great news for me. I've way too much in AVAX and it hasn't moved. I do think Solana and Avalanche
it did find that bottom. Was it about a week or two ago? I was like, man, it feels like a bottom.
Yeah.
It is. It's just still on the bottom.
Yeah. AVAX ETH. So that might be an interesting thing to look at for an AVAX video. Avalanche, I do feel like is one. Both Avalanche and Solana, to an extent, haven't really performed yet compared to what we've seen with some of these other ones. And they have a lot of macro, at least bullishness behind them. So I think Avalanche is really cool.
Look at that link pump in summer of 2020 compared to ETH.
Wow, that's the ETH link chart.
Yeah, so this is link priced in Ethereum or Ether. I mean, that was like a very, very perfect time to load up on Link. That's kind of right when we were making the videos about a month ago.
Yeah. I bought all of that stuff right at that point. And Avalanche, like I bought a lot of Arrow, Aave, Link, and Avalanche is the one that hasn't really moved yet for me.
All right, yeah, a lot of things look like ETH is about to give up some of its gains, and it's just a chart after chart after chart. So yeah, maybe I think maybe that would be a good video, just looking at that others ETH, and maybe I'll also pull up Avalanche, pull up Chainlink, maybe pull up a one or two other alts. Tell me what alts you want me to compare to Ethereum. And it looks like Ethereum is going to give up some of its gains to. I will be reading your comments and we'll put in at least some of those altcoins for sure. All right, so we got CRO pumping. What else do we got? We got Grayscale seeking SEC approval to convert Avalanche Trust into the spot AVAX ETF. not too many funds in this Avalanche Trust. In fact, I haven't looked at it, but this is pretty easy to find. You just go to Grayscale. I think it's like grayscale.com. Let's see. Have I literally never been there before? All right, Grayscale. I hate the resume browsing thing. It's so annoying. Grayscale. Just give me the Google search. All right, so you go to Grayscale. You go right here. This is grayscale.com. Under grayscale.com, you're going to see investment products. Let's see here. It's going to be under the ETFs, ETPs. It's one of their ETPs. Ready to invest. Oh, wait. Maybe we've got to go to one of the products. Oh, here we go. Oh, no. Maybe it's not under the ET. I'll find it, folks. I'll find it. Maybe we'll throw that in the video there. Looking at the trade, we're a little bit higher in the profit there. So we're going to take that 5%. We'll keep watching it. We'll keep assessing it. And then maybe we'll change gears there. TJ, how are you feeling over the next 24, 72 hours? I never asked you.
But bullish or bearish over the next 24 hours? Let's look. What are we at right now?
And I found it. It's 13 million.
Nothing.
Really nothing's in there. You can see it here. 13 million in the Grayscale Avalanche Trust. When we're talking about billions upon billions, not too much there.
Probably for the remainder of this week. What is it? Today's Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday. It's one of those weeks, though.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, the pattern we've been on generally has been Monday, Monday down, Tuesday, Wednesday recover, Thursday get some action, and then kind of close the week. So I'd say this is tough this week.
This is what I'm looking at. I'm feeling bullish over the 4-hour candle periods. I mean, we're seeing that RSI is getting even better. We are 32 minutes away from completing this candle. So I'd say we're close enough. You could say this is probably close to what that print's going to look like. So we're seeing reversal when it comes to some of these RSI metrics for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'd say. I think range. I don't think we're going to get a giant impulse one direction or another for the rest of this week, but I think we're going to have to wait and see what the political fallout of the recent moves are going to be, and then it's all eyes on the Fed going into September. I think I don't know if it's the 15th, but it's around mid-September. Do you know when it is off the top of your head, the next Fed meeting?
It's October 29th. Oh, you're talking about September 17th, October 29th.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we got a couple weeks, and if according to your video, we should see a pullback this week, maybe chop around another week or two, which lines up perfectly with September rate cuts. So
is it me or is no one seeing Steady Bug and Steve-O in the same room at the same time?
It's true.
Conspiracy of the year there.
We haven't seen Steady Bug since he told us we were all fools for telling everybody to buy under 80K. And he hung around for a little while afterwards, but hasn't been around much over 100K. So,
someone pointing out the monthly candle ends pretty soon, and as of now, yeah, you're right. It's a red candle. It's a red candle for sure. Thoughts on Epic Chain? Likelihood of a 10x there. So Epic Chain.
I don't think I've even heard of Epic Chain. 72 million market cap.
Down slightly today. I mean, yeah, definitely high risk.
Only been out since July. Oh, July of 21. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Well, then that means, we're not going to be able to get the 2021 data where if it has the higher high. Wait a minute. Oh, is this change? Rebrand? Saying since March. This one, not so sure on. It's a newer token. It appears. Okay. RWA ecosystem backed by Ripple. Okay. Well, that's going to be a fairly good backer. They have a very good war chest called Escrow Wallet. RWA, though, is going to be a competitive field. And so I would say this is definitely a speculative play, and take profits quickly and then roll those profits into Bitcoin. I don't know if they're going to be able to be the RWA, just end all be all with $72 million market cap. It's my kind of opinion. The markets kind of know it's going to be one of a handful of players, and they're all in the like 500 million to billions plus market cap, but could be a good acquisition target, especially since backed by Ripple. Maybe they have to sell it if they're trying to go public or something. So definitely a little opportunity there, but I would say take profits aggressively.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right. Well, don't make fun of Gavin Wood. He's in wolf mode. Okay. Maybe interoperability is going to come, but it does look like Cardano maybe doing a lot of stuff there. And I'm not sure if it did hit. Let's see. Yeah. This is a post I shared here. You don't deserve gains if you sell your ADA here. 2017, we pumped 6,000%. 2021, 15,000%. Yeah, that's right. It went higher. This was too short of a market. And then 2025, we've only pumped 200% from this range. So if you want to sell here, feel free. I just think there's going to be better days ahead. So if you see this post, give it a like, give it a share.
Yep. Let us know in the chat what if you think the market's over, if you think we've topped or not. Let us know in the comments, or if you think this bull run has more to go. I think we do. And we'll see you guys.
Real quick, Crank got one in real quick.
No.
Dot is the old EOS. ADA is
Dot is the old EOS, ADA is the new EOS. That doesn't even really make sense considering that most of those launched at the same time as EOS. So, but yeah.
death is around the corner.
At least
the Grim
EOS,
Reaper's marking the door.
EOS was dead because you had to pay $1 to get on the chain. That's they were trying to do that to eliminate spam, but there's a lot of problems with EOS that ADA doesn't have. But
not good when you're trying to be a growing ecosystem.
Yep.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.